Yeah, so I mean, when there's a disagreement in law, I think the only way to come about a conclusion is you either test the law, or you come to some other conclusion as to how do you resolve that difference. You know, so I'm really, what my attempt here is, how do I mitigate this issue prior to testing the law? And the only way to do that is to approach respectfully, ask questions logically, and try to make a logical legal argument with you based on what the black and the white says. And if it's not a legal argument, let me know, and I'll.
No, I do understand
I'll
exactly what
reapproach
you're saying,
how I'm coming from
and
it.
I do understand exactly what you're saying. I will tell you there, at least in Nevada, that I'm aware of, there is no case saying you're right, and there's no case saying I'm right.
100%
So
right.
it's, I don't know.
And, well, here's the other thing that I've been researching. In Nevada law, there are very, very, very few oppression of rights under the color of law cases out there. That statute's almost never been used on government. Don't you find that interesting?
I've not looked at that particular issue. We've not had the opportunity.
Yeah, I was going through, maybe I am a bit of a nerd. I've got a subscription to LexisNexis. So I sit there and I try to read and understand what I'm doing with these things to make sure that I'm not being just a half-cocked crazy maniac. That's not my intention. My intention is to make sure I'm bringing you a logical, legal reasoning based on what either the legislature has published or the courts have determined. So hopefully I'm doing that and giving you something to think about as you're dealing with me. Because that's really my goal here, is to get your thought process going. Is this guy right? Is he wrong? Is his argument good? Is his argument? I'm asking you to approach it like an attorney. Am I giving you a good argument? Can you counter the argument? Or do you have to go on some half-cocked legal tangent to try to bring it back into where you can argue it? Unless you can argue it very simply, I think it's a difficult thing to overcome, because the Constitution is pretty black and white. No law shall be passed. So that's where I'm coming from. Anyways, I appreciate it. But for an information request, can she help me, or you want to help me, or who wants to?
Are you submitting something verbally, or are you going to write it down so we can?
I can do it verbally. Essentially, all that I want is all of the records, and if you want to keep that, that's a copy for you.
Okay.
Like I said, it's interesting case law because it's, well, new stuff. It's suing the state and officers for damages. So it's a civil case.
What's your first name again?
Drew.
Drew.
Yes.
And is it R-I-B-A-R?
Good memory, sir.
Today is.
Were there incidents of other people coming in with cameras being jerks, or just was it based on what I've been doing?
We become aware of people who do this. I don't know that anybody's come into our office other than yourself.
Okay.
People have come into the courthouse for sure.
Well, a guy named Bay Area Transparency came through here a little while ago.
Okay.
And he's a much larger channel than what I've got.
How do you want to receive the
Email.
Okay, and what's that email?
CONST 2, the number 2, audit at
Okay.
Gmail. And I think people recording everything that they're doing is becoming a much more commonplace thing now than it ever was before, at least in the time you and I have walked this earth.
Yeah. Okay.
And essentially what I want is all of the records on my arrest, all documents related to the prosecution, and all records related to my complaint about Deputy Bueno and his counterpart. And I don't know how to submit this request over at the sheriff's office.
One second. Related to complaint about
Deputy Bueno,
and was there something after that?
and he had a partner, I forget his partner's name, that was involved in my arrest. His partner was the one that impounded my truck.
Partner.
And I want to see what happened with those investigations and whether they were, what conclusion they came to. And all the notes and all the records involved in. Because what I see happening in our country, our local community, whether it's Carson or Reno or wherever here, people are tired of unaccountable government. I don't know if you watch my channel at all, but I went to the Washoe County Commissioners meeting yesterday.
Mhm.
It was, they started off with an invocation by a Satanist and a satanic prayer. What a great way to start a public meeting. True example of a First Amendment. But the discussion was a couple of different issues. Commissioner Herman becoming the chair. But the other issue was the county manager, Mr. Brown, and his wife's drunk driving. I don't know if you've seen that video,
No.
but she was arrested for drunk driving. At the same time, a Hispanic man was arrested. And the conclusion of the two cases was very different. County Manager Brown, who blew 4 times over the legal limit, was stumbling when she tried to walk the white line. It's an interesting video. She was obviously drunk, slurring her words, and she referenced how her husband was the county manager. She gets off with nothing, pretty much. Whereas at the same time, a Hispanic man is sentenced and convicted, and the full force of the law is put at him. So why does a government employee and his family have exemption from the law, whereas a normal human being doesn't get that same exemption? When you grew up, when I grew up, we're about the same age, were we always told that people like you that are authority, elected officials, people that work for the government, you're held to a much higher standard? But is that really truthful? From my personal life experience, I find that is untruthful, because there's been qualified immunity forever. So I think and I think the courts are recognizing this, that the people are tired of it. How do you hold people accountable? Well, allowing lawsuits is one way, but I think there's better ways to do that than suing people. I think, and maybe you disagree, you're an attorney, you went to school to sue people. I didn't, I run a business, but I think trying to educate people, communicate with people, and trying to mitigate issues that way is a much better way to deal with the problem. And that's really what I'm trying to do here, is mitigate the issues. I don't know if you know a guy named Andy McKay.
Name is familiar.
He's-
I think he ran for something at some point.
He's been around.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, he used to be the chairman of the Nevada Transportation Authority years ago.
Okay.
He's well connected. And I really respected the way that he did his job. He was very accountable, very on top of things. And I think that if we can make our government more accountable to people, and you've got the power to do this, I think that you would be in a much better position. I don't know if you're terming out or anything like that yet, are you?
No, I 3 years remaining on the term.
Okay, well, but can you run again?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can run again, so that's a concern. So how can you make things better for the people, how they see things in a better light? Because law enforcement has gotten a bad rap over the last bunch of years. Things have happened in our society where it's not as respected like it used to be. And I think if law enforcement and government authority can be respected more than it is now, I think society can be better. But what gets people to respect it? Well, that's if the government respects the people. And I think what's happened is government has lost the respect. Government has stopped respecting the people that they're supposed to serve. And in turn, the people have started to turn on government and stop respecting government. And I think that's a big problem with a lot of the drug issues we may be seeing and a lot of other things in society. So perhaps that could change some things in society and make it better. Just food for thought. Again, I'm just trying to put things in your mind. Maybe you'll think about them. Maybe something will catch you. You never know in life when somebody gives you something, you're going, I've still got these from years ago when people have told me things. I still think about them. That guy was just right about that stuff. Sounds like you might have had that same experience. So
Okay.
that's what I'm looking for, is information on my arrest and the investigation on my complaint.
Okay. We will send you an email when we have the records that.
Within 5 days, let me know where to study it out.
I got you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for being cordial to me and always coming out. I appreciate that. Sorry guys, didn't have the camera faced the right way. I've got a body camera that'll come up later with that when I repost all this stuff though. So anyways, that's what I came here for, was to give him that information and go along from there. You guys all have a good day.